join us. We have about 18 registered for its certification program. Today we will be covering the Day 2, Chapters 6, 7, and 8. Working with reports, working with Microsoft Excel and Word, and utilities, followed by our Q&A. Okay, Chapter 6, we're working with reports. The Report Center will modify columns, sort reports, column width and order, header and footer, editing fonts and numbers, filtering reports, choosing reports preferences, memorizing reports, and also adding report groups. The Report Center helps us locate and run reports that show information that you need. And the bar to the Report Center, the path, is on your shortcut bar. Some may have their shortcut bar to the left of the screen. I prefer to keep mine on top. And click the reports icon. And the Report Center will appear, hopefully. I personally do not use the Report Center to generate my reports, only because there's an efficient way to find your reports rather than going through the center. But as through the tutorials and the manual, we're going to show you this path to the Report Center. In the Report Center, we have a tab of Memorized, Favorites, Recent, and Contributed. And on the left, we see the types of reports that QuickBooks offers. You can find the same information in the reports on the menu bar, your Report Center, your Memorized reports, and a plethora of standard reports. Now, when you run a report, there may be information that you would like to extrapolate from QuickBooks that perhaps is not in the detailed reports that QuickBooks offers. So with that, what we can do is modify the reports. And to modify the report, we would open a report, which I'm going to do right now in my Memorized report group. And we have a profit and loss equipment rental cost. And this one is memorized. Let's choose another. Memorized reports, my reports, and we'll do a profit and loss by class. These are reports that I had memorized previously, so we can pull them up quickly. This is a profit and loss by class. Your class run along the top of the columns. To modify the report, you would press the Customize Report button on the top left, and it will show the particular tabs that you would need to modify the reports. And now the Display tab, you would choose the date range, whether it's cash or accrual, and the columns. I chose to display the columns by class. And we can sort by total or default. Default is what QuickBooks chooses when they develop that feature. And we can also add subcolumns. I like to know the percentage of income, and then we'll press OK. Here we have our percentage of income column. Across the top are the classes on each column. And we can also show whether it's ascending order or descending order. Now we can also modify our reports, and we can modify the column width and the order. To modify the column width, click and drag the small diamond between the column headings to the left or to the right. And you can also change the column order if you click and drag the column title over the small diamond between the column headings. Let's open another report. This report, which is a customer phone list, is an excellent report to demonstrate these features. So if we want to change the column order, just click and drag over to where you see that red arrow and drop, and it will have the customer column following the balance total. We can also change the width of the column by, you can see that cross, you put it over those diamonds, click and drag it, which will make it wider or narrow. Very useful, especially in printing and formatting your pages. Okay, we're going to change the header and the footer and the fonts and numbers in your reports. The header and the footer you will find in your customized reports, but I would like to use that. Let's use the profit and loss report for this. Customize report button, and then we would go to header and footer. In the header, to show the header information, let's do the Build Them Inc. in capitals. Page number, the format of the page number, let's do page 1, extra footer line for CEO only. Okay. Now you will see that the Build Them Here Inc. has been edited and updated with capital letters, but we don't see the footer here, and you can check your footer through the print feature. And preview. And there's our preview. Check the footer, the page 1, the format is correct, and our additional line. Also here we have our header showing the Build Them with the updated capital letters, the profit and loss, and it also gives us the time the report was generated, which is very helpful if you're updating reports one right after the other. If you did it 5 minutes ago, an hour ago, 10 minutes ago, you can differentiate those reports based on time, your date, and of course your cash basis. Good to know, cash and accrual basis will extrapolate different information. Okay, let's move on to fonts and numbers. Fonts and numbers are similar path. The path that we go to, the tab is fonts and numbers, and this is what we would change. If you want to change your column labels, your row labels, your report data, you'll be able to change those fonts. Let's say our boss has a sense of humor and wants a Comic Sans MS, and let's make it, we like it bold, and we'll say okay. And let's change, we can also change the numbers by showing negative numbers. I like them in bright red. And without cents. And you'll find when you make these changes, it certainly changes the feel of the report, as you can see. It doesn't look very professional in this way, but it really is. It's the preference of the reader of the report and the generator of the report. Okay, filtering our reports and our report preferences. To filter reports, you would go to the Customize button, filter tabs, change appropriate information. Same path, but we'll go to filters instead of header and footer or fonts and numbers. Filters will extrapolate whatever information that you are looking for and that you want to analyze in the financial end of your business. So right now, what I would like to do, let's see, we have this report. We are extrapolating information that are particular to classes. So what we're going to do here is change the filter and choose, how about customer job? Let me see what we have here. Let's do transaction type. See how that works. Okay, what I'm going to do here is in this filter, we won't use the transaction type. What I will do is change the class. So we would like to change the class and only track one class. Classes are very useful in tracking budgets. If you have particular budgets and you want to keep the information separate and track that activity, we would use classes. So right now, the class that I would like to track is business management alone. And so we'll set that OK. And there we have business management activity, and the other classes are eliminated. So we would want to save this, and it's asking us the report you are memorizing is a memorized report. Would you like to replace the original memorized report or create a new one? And we want to create a new one. And we'll save that. Business management, save and memorize report group. Kind of get a little ahead of ourselves there by memorizing that. I just wanted to show you the process. Okay. Report preferences. As with most of the company preferences, we would find that in the menu bar. And those preferences, what they help us do is when I change those fonts to the comic font and how we would like the numbers to be presented, we can change that in our preferences for every report that is generated. And we would do that in preferences, reports and graphs, company preference. We want our reports to be cash-based, aging from our due date, reports show items, name and description. I would prefer name only. Reports show accounts by name only. And classified cash, that goes for the masters of QuickBooks. In default formatting reports, that is what QuickBooks uses when you generate reports. If we do not use the default, we can format our reports. Our company name, if we prefer it to be capitalized, our page number format, we can also change our font numbers that we had done in the previous window when we customized the report. This preference window will customize all reports. Okay. memorize reports and run memorize reports. To open a report, to memorize a report, we need to open the report and memorize it just like we did on the past reports. Okay. All right, we changed this report. So what we're going to do is we're going to memorize it as is. I would like to replace it. But my boss wants me to memorize it. So we're going to make a new one. And this one will be the customer phone list. Credit balance. Okay. Save in Collie's reports and share this template with others. Not today, thank you. Okay. So that is how you memorize a report. Now what we will need to do once you memorize the report is you have to run that report, say on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, however your supervisor prefers, or that you would feel necessary for keeping your financial reports up to date. So what we would do is on the menu bar, reports, memorized reports. Here's our list, and we saved it under Collie's reports and customer phone list. And that's where we would find our memorized report. And of course, you decide how that list is going to be formatted and which reports go under what groups. So next we are going to add a group to our memorized list, and then we'll add the memorized report to a group, which we just did, and then display and print. Now with memorized reports, you can also run multiple reports through the memorized report list. So to add a group, what we will do is open our memorized reports list by clicking that option. And at the bottom, we'll have memorized reports, new group, and we'll say these are Valerie's reports. Okay, so let's open the profit and loss business management report, and let's share this to, oops, sorry, excuse me. Let's memorize this to Valerie's report. And profit and loss, BM, business management, save and memorize report group to Valerie's reports. Now, in order to run multiple reports, we would choose process multiple reports. We could choose just a group or all of our reports. We'll choose my group, Collie's reports. We need to run these on a monthly basis. So our first choice is we can display. When I run reports, I prefer to review the report to verify accuracy before I distribute them. Or if you're comfortable with sending them through, you can just print them right away, and then they'll print and also collate. But let's take a look at these reports and review. And display. We have about 6 reports here, and they are generating all the reports And what I like to do is through the window, I like to tile the reports, and then you can see each report that is open. You can choose that report, and here we go, expand it for your review. And also in this window, you can see which reports have been generated. Okay, let's close these. Show the print. Those, if they were updated, they would ask us to save the reports, but since we didn't update it, they close automatically. Okay, Chapter 7, working with Microsoft. We are going to be working with Microsoft Excel and working with Microsoft Word. I do not have Microsoft Word and Excel in Windows because I'm running a Mac. So unfortunately, we can't demonstrate using Word and Excel. What I recommend is to go to the tutorials and really internalize what he's doing with Word and Excel. It's pretty straightforward, especially when you're exporting. Excel, from what I understand, in the newer versions, they have the QuickBooks options. Let's export a report just through the path right now. Unfortunately, I can't give you a sample of an actual report exported. But let's open up a report. And what we would do is just press the Excel button. Quite simple. We're going to either create a new worksheet or update an existing worksheet. And once we update an existing worksheet, what we have available, the options are to create a new one, to update an existing worksheet, or replace an existing worksheet. And with replacing an existing worksheet, it automatically updates a worksheet you already have on file. What I like to do is I like to update an existing worksheet, because what that allows you to do is you create the worksheet and you have the last worksheet that you made and you have the current worksheet, so you can see the activities, the history of the activities and the transactions within those reports. A new worksheet creates a new workbook, if you're familiar with Excel. Very handy tool, especially if you need to create reports that QuickBooks does not offer. For instance, in my experience, we would have a construction projection report. We would use the income and expense detail and extrapolate that and download it into Excel, but then I would have an extra column for the projection of what we would believe that that construction project would cost. So this export became very helpful because it exported the expense amounts and the income amounts of the project. Okay, let's move on to Word. Now, Word is oh, no, let's do this. Export report considerations. When you export your report, there are areas that when you make your changes to your exported report, Excel only keeps certain changes. They rename report titles, font formatting in row and column headers, resized columns, renamed column and row headers, inserted rows and columns with information entered. Formulas. The updated report must contain the row associated with the formula and inserted texts. Also, with these considerations, any of the following changes you make to your exported report will have to be updated manually when the report is updated. Font formatting in non-header cells, formatting other than changes to font, and move data cells. If you entered a formula in your Excel report and you receive an error when you update the report, you have two choices. Close the workbook without saving to retain the report before the update, or save the report on sheet 1 to keep the updated report without the formula. I prefer to do 2. It helps, it gives you a value and a history of the transactions. Okay, Microsoft Word. QuickBooks can print envelopes and create letters to send to customers, vendors, employees, and other names. With this feature, you do not have to re-enter names and addresses into Word. QuickBooks includes a set of standard letters and envelopes. Plus, you can customize them or design your own from scratch. Okay, writing a letter using a standard template. Let's take a look at that. Where we would go is our company, prepared letters with envelopes, and let's do a collection letter. And there's like an interview questionnaire preference set. They're asking us if we want to include listed customers or jobs. Let's do both. Create a letter for each customer, and limit letters to customers for jobs with payments overdue by 1 day or more. That says that our customers have credits. So in reality, we would want to go back and check that customer and make sure that they are in fact overdue. Okay, these customers have overdue payments by 1 day or more, and we want to choose them. Yes, continue. The collection letter template, formal, formal, friendly, friendly, or harsh. Let's start with friendly. And then, of course, the entering name and title for the letter. Okay, this is where we stop. We don't have a Word, but what they would do is they would export this information into a letter, and also a template for envelopes. Like I said, go into those tutorials for this chapter and internalize the Excel and the Word. They do ask questions about this on the exam, and it's great information to have. Most financial and business offices use Excel and Word for these precise tasks. Okay, moving on to Chapter 8. Utilities. We're going to go over backup data files, restore data files, and updating QuickBooks. You should make a regular backup of your QuickBooks company files and keep these backups off-site. This ensures you will always have a recent copy of your critical accounting records should a data loss occur. There are 4 ways to back up your company file in QuickBooks: backup online, manual backup, automatic backup, and scheduled backup. You can choose to back up company files immediately or create scheduled for automatic backup. And here's our path. And we want to back up our company. We're going to create a local backup. We want to save your backup copy online or locally, and we want to back up locally. We want to save it now. I have one saved on our desktop. So what I'm going to do is we're going to schedule. And we want to back up, save backup copy automatically when I close my company file. There we go. Let's go back to that. That said there were no schedules. There we go, description. We'll do our location. This PC. number of backups to keep. They want us to run it on a weekly basis, which is actually the preferred backup schedule. And we will back up on Friday. And we can store a password if we would like. It's invalid because it's not really a PC. I'm running off of Parallels. So let's see what we go here. Okay, so that is our backup. Those are pretty self-explanatory. And again, go through the tutorials and see how he goes through those backups and where he stores them. Usually you store them on your PC hard drive, or if you have an external, or on the server. Okay, once you create a backup, you may want to restore those files. So restoring data files means recreating a company data file from a backup copy. You may do this for several reasons. The company file on your hard drive is damaged, the computer's hard drive is damaged, or you wish to review your company data as it is stood at an earlier date. And we would find this in our file in the menu bar. And open or restore a company. And we would like to restore a backup copy, a local backup. And there's our file name, open. Then it's going to ask us where we want to restore it. I don't want to restore this right now because it's going to take up so much space on this Parallels desktop. So I'm not going to go further with this. Choose your tutorials, look at those, and we'll see where he decided to back up his files. Most companies, they will just restore it where they originally had their files to begin with. So that's where we would send this file. Okay, updating QuickBooks. A new version of QuickBooks is released approximately every year. A new version adds new features and improvements. Intuit charges a fee for the purchases of a new version. Contact Intuit for current prices. After the new version is installed, QuickBooks asks you whether your data file should be updated to the new version. By typing yes, QuickBooks automatically updates your file to the new version. Once the file is updated, you can no longer open the data file in the previous versions. Each company has its own file. Just a little caveat there. Okay, Intuit occasionally creates maintenance releases for an existing version of QuickBooks. I have a tendency to call them recalls. A maintenance release usually corrects problems in QuickBooks not discovered until after distribution of a new version. Also, Intuit might add features that were not available at the time the version was distributed. To determine the current version and release of QuickBooks, display the product information window by pressing the F2 key or hold down the Control key and press 1 on the keyboard. The F2 key feature is asked on the exam, so take a look at that if you can. Unfortunately, I can't do that with my Mac, so I can't show you a demonstration of the F2 feature. Okay, to obtain the maintenance release, there are 3 ways to get the latest maintenance release. Get updates automatically via the QuickBooks Update service. Check for and download updates using the QuickBooks Update service when you want, or you can also download the latest maintenance release from the QuickBooks website. Okay, we are going to show you the turn on off automatic updates and check for download updates. And on the menu bar, we have Help, update QuickBooks. And we have an update now. Our options that we can choose, these are updates that may be available. And if you want to update those now, you would choose the updates here from the list, the drop-down list. Okay, we're through those chapters, chapters 6, 7, and 8 in day 2. If we have any questions, now would be the time. I hope that was helpful. I know the backup might have been a little confusing. Like I said, go to the tutorials and they'll show you exactly where you can restore or store your file copies. Okay, this is a question is there a limit of the number of times a report can be listed in groups? Example, P&L on Kylie's, Valerie's, and Joe's group. Is there a limit on how many groups P&L can be in? When you memorize a report, you can limits. I don't think there are limits on how many reports that you can memorize. I don't recall seeing that in any of the tutorials or the manual. I know from my personal experience, I had probably 200 reports at least memorized. And a group can have as many as you need. Hopefully you won't need more than that, but if you do, I believe that that's available. What I would like to do is get back to you on that. I'm not sure exactly where I would find that particular information, but I don't believe that that is on the exam. But it's a good question, and I would like to see if there is a limit to reports. You're welcome, Linda. Linda, check your F2 feature and see if you can find the information in the F2, the version page. Okay, looks like we're coming to a close. I don't see any more questions. We have one more week of our chapters. We have 9, 10, and 11 for next week. We do not have a live chat this Friday. I will certainly be missing that, but I am also available to you at metricsmentor@gmail.com if you have any questions regarding these chapters or any questions for all the chapters that we've had covered in the past 5 weeks. Also, I know that we have a chapter that's coming up that covers quite a bit of material. So if you have any questions in those, it's not a problem. I will be available this week and next week. If you have your quiz stars, I recommend that you utilize the quiz stars. And also you can contact the support, the metric support, the support at metricslearning.com for your vouchers for your exams. Okay, Linda does not see the information on the F2. I would say if you don't see it, that it is not there. It's an interesting question, and it would be interesting to see how, if we can find that information. So I'll take a dive into that tomorrow and see what comes up. Okay, it looks like we've got a short webinar today. Again, you can reach me at metricsmentor@gmail.com, and I hope you guys have a great, great week.